Hi, and welcome to Crafts with Ash DIY and Decor. My name's Ashley, and today I am bringing you 4 brand new Halloween DIYs. These are all really dark and spooky, but they are so much fun to make and very affordable. I also thought that because it's been a while, I would take you through what we've been up to through the spring and summer and explain my absence here on YouTube. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, and turn on all those notifications so you can get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'm hoping as we get into spooky season and the holidays, I'll be able to upload a lot more. All right, let's jump into these 4 new spooky Halloween DIYs. All right, so first I do want to address this. I figured since you guys observe a lot, you're going to notice that my wedding ring is off. No worries, Brandon and I are fine. I just had a rash on my ring finger, so I had to take my ring off, but I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to think that that's why I abruptly left YouTube, but no, that's not it. So I just wanted to address that real quick. For this first DIY, we're going to start off with these 2 skull shelf sitters, but they do light up and make noise. You're going to see that at the end. So first I cut the tags off, and then I'm going to take these wood slices that I got in a pack from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to use some hot glue and hot glue 1 wood slice on top of each one of these skulls. Now these skulls are plastic, so I thought that that hot glue, adhered really well to the wood and the plastic. So now we have some candle holders. But of course, I don't really want to keep them this color because we're doing dark and spooky. So I decided I'm going to paint them black. Now, the thing is, you don't want to paint on the inside of the eyes and nose and where the mouth is because that's where it lights up. So if you paint over it, you won't see it. So the first thing I did was take a really tiny brush and just outlined all of the eyes and the nose. Basically just went around the parts that would light up. And then I took a bigger brush and I painted the rest of this, including the wood disc, with just some regular black paint. I only had to do 1 coat and I only used black acrylic paint, so it worked really well. After that was dry, I took some of this silver leaf rub and buff. You guys, I am obsessed. This was my first time ever using rub and buff. I see everybody using it, so I'm like, okay, you know what? Now's the time. Look at this. Just look how this brings out the detail. You can see that I'm kind of taking some off of my finger and just kind of hitting the mat there just to go ahead and, just so it's not so bold. But look at this look that it gives. So for Halloween in my living room, it is like skeleton skull themed and it is black and silver. So I thought that these would be perfect to either put in the living room, or my bedroom also kind of follows that theme as well. But look how amazing these are. So you are definitely going to see me use this silver rub and buff a lot in this video. I also went around the top part and threw some rub and buff on there. Then I went ahead and did the same thing to the second one. Oh my goodness, I highly recommend using rub and buff. They have gold and they have some other different colors. So I got mine from Hobby Lobby, but you can get them from any craft store. Look how cool those are. You'll get a better look at the end and the final reveal. For the next DIY, I'm going to grab this vase. Now, I did not realize that this was $3 at the Dollar Tree. I just picked it up thinking that it was $1.25. I still didn't even realize it when we checked out because I got a bunch of stuff, so I wasn't really paying attention. But it is bigger than what you would get for $1.25. So you could go with the smaller one, or you can get this bigger one. Next, I am going to take these are shower rings, and these just came in a pack from the Dollar Tree. I happen to have some in my stash because I used them for a DIY before. So I'm going to take 2, and just by using hot glue, I'm going to hot glue 1 to each side of my vase. You probably will pick up what we are creating here. And then I think I missed it, but I did go ahead and take off that dang tag that you know that I absolutely hate. All right, so I just went ahead and just used hot glue and hot glued these on. Now it looks like Princess Leia, right? All right, so then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to use 3 big beads, and I am just going to hot glue them down, and this way it kind of creates feet. So I just put one on either side and then one up top. Now you're going to see that I actually move these because it kind of like rocked forward. You can see they're not like centered. So I wanted to leave this in here to show you how easy it is just to fix your mistakes. So I just went ahead and used my heat gun to go ahead and melt the glue. And then once I got them off, I just re-glued them right on there. So that's how easy it is, to fix your mistakes. And hey, it's just crafting. It's fine. We're fine. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and re-glue those back on there. So I let my glue set up, and can you tell what we're making? I think it's kind of obvious, but this will really give it away. So after that, I took some black spray paint and I went ahead and spray painted this entire thing, and look at this super cool cauldron. I absolutely love this. So now we're going to go ahead and add some details. So I am just going to take some hot glue and just go around the rim of this cauldron, and I'm going to make some drippy lines. At first, I kind of spread them out, and then I went in and added a ton more, and I thickened it up too. So this just adds like that melting cauldron, potion, bubbling over look, and I absolutely love it. In my dining room, I do a witch's lair theme, so this will be perfect in there. All right, so once all of this hot glue dried, I'm going to go ahead and take that silver rub and buff, and I'm going to go over the drip marks, so the hot glue marks. Look how cool that looks. And then I'm going to go a little bit over the cauldron handles as well. And it just totally brought out the detail in this cauldron. And look how easy this was to make. The only thing I had to get was the vase. Well, and I guess the rub and buff, but I'm using that a lot. Everything else I had in my stash. Just look at that detail. All right, so after that, I took some of these really cool flowers from the Dollar Tree. I ripped off the tag, and I am not the best at floral arrangements, but I didn't want to cut these down in case I wanted to use these for something else, so I just went ahead and folded the stem up to make it a little shorter. And I have a couple different picks here. I have the purple ones, those flowers that have the eyes. I have the same ones in black. I think they're supposed to be roses. And then I have a pick with other black stems. I don't know. I was just putting like an assortment of different Halloween picks from the Dollar Tree. Some of them had spiders and some of them had like that pumpkin. So I'm just taking all of the picks that I got and just arranging them to make a really fun, witchy, spooky floral arrangement for my apothecary and my dining room. So you're gonna have to let me know. I know that it's early for Halloween, but I feel like on YouTube everyone's skipping fall for some reason and jumping right into Halloween. So I know that I didn't do a fall video. I don't know, but I just really have these ideas and I'm like, yes, I have to do this. But look how cool this arrangement is. All right, so I interrupt this crafting to bring you some updates and why I abruptly left YouTube in April. So first we're gonna go ahead and start off with Easter. I just thought I'd catch you up a little bit. Look how cute my little cuties are. But the real reason why I left was because I got a full-time job. This is the works. I am the new events manager. And let me tell you, this place is so much fun. It is actually in an old theater, and they totally redid it and turned it into a family fun center. We have a full kitchen. We have a full bar with so many fun drinks and cocktails. But look behind there. We have an arcade. We have bowling, we have duck pin bowling, and we do all kinds of fun events. We do birthday parties. It is just a lot of fun. We also have a stage where I used to do a princess show when I owned that business, and where we have bands come and just have a blast. This is the arcade, and it is so much fun. We have the mezzanine. This is where they actually shot the movies. You can see where the stage was where the screen was in the theater. But I think one of the coolest parts about this place is the hidden gem, the speakeasy. So this is the speakeasy. It is 1920s themed, and it's just going to be like your higher end cocktails, and it's just a lot of fun. So this is where I have been spending a lot of time. Oh, yep, there's the karaoke room, but it takes up a lot of my time. I mean, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I went from working from home with my own business for 10 years to working 40 hours a week. I work 2 days at home and 3 days there at the actual facility. So I do want to apologize for my abrupt, me leaving abruptly, but I promise you it was for good reason. Shortly after I started my new job, Amelia turned 7. So, yes, we do have a 7-year-old now. She wanted a Barbie party. So, we had a family party at home and then a party at my new job at the works. We had a glow party, as you saw, with her friends from her class. And it was just a blast. I cannot believe I have a 7-year-old. How crazy is that? I also wanted to throw this in here. We also celebrated my grandparents' 65th anniversary. And I know I talked about them a lot on my other channel, so I thought I would show you. We had a small little celebration to, celebrate their anniversary, but yep, 65 years. All right, don't think that I didn't go the whole summer without decorating. I did decide to do a lemon theme in my kitchen, and this is my coffee bar. Then in the middle of June, my family went to Lakeside. This is on Lake Chautauqua. It's about an hour and 45 minutes from where we live, and we had so much fun. This community is such a nice, just quaint community. Everyone is so pleasant there, and we had a great time. And you can see it was my whole family. We rented a house, we went to the lake, they got to paddleboard. So it was definitely a fun little 4-day getaway. Now, one of the things we worked so hard to do this summer was to save money and replace the liner in our pool. You may remember we did not open it last year because the liner had ripped and we just could not, we just couldn't replace it. So we were so proud of ourselves that we, worked really hard and got a new one installed. We also got new pool steps and this cool slide that Brandon is going to try out here. But we have really been spending so much time enjoying our pool, having people over. The girls also did swim lessons, and here's Charlotte going underneath the water for the first time and showing everyone how she can pull herself up. So we've really been enjoying being outside in our pool. Something that Amelia and I are doing together is Girl Scouts. And yes, you read my shirt right. I am the leader. I loved Girl Scouts when I was younger, so I really wanted to do this with her. I thought it would be something fun to do. And that brings us to now where we have an official first grader. Amelia had her first day of first grade last week, and let me tell you, she had so much fun. Here's her little photo shoot that she had to do the morning of. But basically, that's just a recap of our summer. Here's just a few more shots that we got. But again, I do want to apologize for just abruptly leaving. The transition of me working outside of the home for the first time in 10 years and with kids has been interesting. Brandon also did get a promotion and his hours also changed at work. So we've just had a lot of big transitions and changes the last few months. So I really needed to shift my focus on just, I guess, figuring it out. But hey, now that I've kind of gotten into a better groove, I'm hoping to be more present on YouTube coming up. All right, let's jump back into these Halloween DIYs. For my third DIY, I just went ahead and got a picture frame from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to start off by taking it all apart. I'm just going to take the glass out, the backing, everything. Now, I do want to give this a good coat of black paint, but before I painted this, I did sand it down a little bit because that way it was easier for the paint to stick. And then I just went ahead and painted this entire thing, including the sides and the inside of the frame in black paint. Once that all dried, I took these skeletons from that garland that they have at the Dollar Tree. I cut off the top where like the string is hanging, and then I wanted to position this on kind of at an angle. Now, one thing you do have to pay attention too, though, is that when you put the feet down, if you're going to glue it like I did, you have to make sure that the feet don't hang past the frame, or else it's not going to stand up. So next I'm just going to take another one, and I wanted this one to be upside down. I just wanted to make kind of like a really cool spooky picture frame, and so I think, I just wanted it to be kind of just different. So I am just hot gluing it wherever the skeleton touches the frame, and then I'm going to take a pack of the plastic bones from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add these on top as well. And hot glue worked perfectly fine for me. You can use E6000 or some kind of super glue, but I use Gorilla Hot Glue, and it really does seem to be a really strong hold. So I just went ahead and continued hot gluing all of these bones down. I used some bigger ones and then some smaller ones. And you can see I kind of did it at an angle, so I just wanted it to look just really spooky. So once everything was glued down, I went ahead and painted all of this with black paint as well. Now, it is tedious, I'm not gonna lie. Painting the skeletons were a little time consuming, but I really just wanted to make sure that just everything was painted black. So I just went ahead, took some time, and painted all of my skeletons and bones. Once my frame was all painted and dry, you guessed it, I went in with some more of that silver leaf rub and buff, and I'm just going to rub it. And as you can see, I'm just using my finger. It's so easy. I'm just going to rub it all over the frame. And you can see that my frame actually has texture, which just added to the spook factor even more. So I'm just going to really make sure to get into all the little details. That way this frame really pops and comes to life. You do want to make sure that you get, the bottoms of the feet, the underneath his hands, and kind of the back of all the skeletons and the sides. Now, I did want to add a little bit more detail, so I had these bows from the Dollar Tree, and they had those skulls on them. I didn't even have to do anything to them. I ended up only using 2, but I went ahead and hot glued these down, and one of them is upside down, one of them is sideways, but I really thought that adding these little skeletons or skulls really, made it so cool. So then I just put my frame back together, and that's it. Now I have this really cool spooky Halloween skull frame. For my final DIY, I've been seeing everybody on Facebook and YouTube making busted or exploding canvases. You probably know what I'm talking about. So I decided I wanted to try one too, but I wanted to make it look like it was a busted mirror. So what I did was take a canvas from the Dollar Tree, and then I got this like reflective paper from Hobby Lobby. I traced my canvas, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut it down so it fits right on top. After that, I'm going to put a generous amount of Mod Podge on to the top of my canvas, so that way I can glue down my scrapbook paper. Now you do want a nice thick layer of Mod Podge because this scrapbook paper is thick. So you want to make sure that, you have enough on there so it sticks. So I just went ahead and placed this reflective paper on the top of my canvas. Now I did kind of go through and tack down the sides and the edges with some hot glue. This did not really stick too well. I mean, it did take a while for it to set up, but I really had to, just kind of push it down, kind of work on it a while for it to adhere. So while the front is drying, I went ahead and flipped it over, and now I'm going to cover the inside of the canvas. So I'm just kind of using some of the scrap from what I just cut. Now you're probably thinking, Ashley, why didn't you just use the other piece of, the second piece of reflective paper? Well, I tried one idea with it and it didn't work, so I didn't have it anymore. So now these are the scraps. So just stay with me. This is going to seem kind of like it's everywhere, but I promise you the end result, it will not disappoint. So I am just using these scrap pieces to go ahead, cut them down, and then I'm going to Mod Podge them to the inside of this frame. And again, you want to apply a really thick layer onto this canvas so that way it all sticks down. Now, I did go ahead and again used some hot glue to tack down some of the edges, and then I put a really thick coat of Mod Podge on top and really paid attention to the sides there because I don't want them to come up. But as you can see, I'm just pushing it down. I had to work with this too, but eventually it all stuck down. And so then that way, you know, I could go ahead and move on. Now, some of my scrapbook paper that was on the front actually hung over a little bit, so I just used my sandpaper to sand it off. And now I'm going to take my Mod Podge and hit the edges there. And then I did also go into the middle. So you can see that, yes, you know, it takes some work, but eventually this scrapbook paper does, you know, stick down. You just have to have a little patience. And then here I'm kind of showing you that I used my hot glue just to tack down some of the corners and the edges, and that really seemed to work. Now, even though that I used some scrap pieces to do this, I would highly recommend just using one solid piece. If I hadn't have messed up that other, you know, piece of scrapbook paper I had, I definitely would have used that. So just a little suggestion for you. All right, so now I'm going to wipe in all of the Mod Podge, and it kind of made it a little foggy, which made it even spookier, and I loved that. And now I'm going to take my black paint, and I'm going to paint around the edges of this canvas. Now, I did not do this on purpose, but what it ended up doing was a little bit of that black paint was going onto the front, and you'll see a better shot in a minute. And I really love that because it made it look old and aged. So I ended up just doing that around the whole frame. So I painted the edge, and then I just kind of, I guess it's called stippling. You can see I'm just kind of blotting all of that paint around the edges on the top of the canvas as well. Once my paint was dry, I took a knife and I'm going to cut through the paper and the canvas. Now here's the thing, I used so much Mod Podge that it was actually like really wet still. So you can see that I'm sitting there trying to contemplate. Now don't worry, again, it's so easy to fix your mistakes. So what I did was I just went in there with scissors, and that's how I cut the rest of my strips. So I did go ahead and work on this piece, but there you go. See, I'm just using my scissors. And what you want to do is, I ended up flipping this over because it was easier to do it from the back, but you just want to, you know, kind of cut some triangles. You don't want to cut the pieces off the canvas. You want to be able to roll them back like that. And don't worry, I do fix that. I'm just kind of staring at it. But this is when I decide I'm just going to use my scissors to do this. So if a knife does not work, just go ahead and use your scissors. But do you see how I'm cutting here? Kind of a triangle at a point. And I am going up towards the sides of the frame, but I am not, or of the canvas, but I am not cutting these pieces off. So I just went ahead and made a bunch of slits so I could eventually curl them back, and I had an opening to my canvas to look like it exploded. Now this is going to look ugly before it gets pretty, so stay with me. After I had all my little slits or slots cut out, I went ahead and added hot glue and curled them back to make it look like, you know, this was busted through. So I went ahead and did this for all of my little triangles. Next, to add some dimension and detail, I went ahead and took my black paint and paintbrush, and I just went ahead and blotted all around my my little cutouts there. Sorry, it is so late at night. My brain is fried. Anyways, that's why I'm having trouble putting words together right now. You also, when I cut them, you can also see like the white paper. So that also really helped to hide and blend everything in. So I really just loved the look that this gave. So I'm just going to go around all of these and just blend it. I kind of went a little bit on the little triangles too. And yeah, I just added some black detail. Next, I'm going to take this other canvas, and you can see that it is a very thin one. And again, I just got this at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to unwrap it, and I'm just going to do the same thing I did with the first one, but this time I'm going to use black scrapbook paper. And so I cut it down, and again, I used a lot of Mod Podge to go ahead and glue this down. Again, you want that thick layer because the paper is thick. And you really want to make sure to pay attention to the edges and the sides, that they're all glued down. Then, because the canvas on the sides were white, I just took my black paint and I painted around the edges. Now I'm going to take this skeleton that I got from the Dollar Tree years ago. It was in my stash, and as you can see through the years, he did lose a leg. But don't worry, we'll address that in a minute. Now, I did not want him to be this color, so I went ahead and painted him black. Now, I did realize that I wanted to shorten his arms a little bit, so this was really easy to disassemble, so I just went ahead and took the arm off, and I cut his hand off, so that way eventually I can glue the hand back on, and of course I did it to both. Now, I didn't end up using the legs and the feet, but at this point I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, so I just went ahead and painted and prepped everything just in case. So I gave this skeleton a really good coat of black paint, including the feet and the hands, and then of course my rub and buff. And I accidentally did not record me doing the skeleton with the rub and buff, but I think you have the point by now. So now it's time to put everything together. So the first thing we have to do is hot glue the busted canvas onto the black canvas, if that makes sense. Sorry, again, it's late. So I just put a generous amount of hot glue around the edge, and then I just went ahead and glued this on top. And see how I say it doesn't have to be perfect because the edges were going to be covered. So now I had to figure out how I was going to get my skeleton in there. So it did take some playing around. So at first I was going to use his leg, and then I popped the leg off, and then I went ahead and cut his like pelvic area off. So you're going to see me just kind of play around with this. But the cool thing is that it is 3D now. So I was able to slip my skeleton on the inside. So here's where I kind of take him apart. And then once I figure out how I'm going to assemble him or kind of lay him down, I go ahead and start gluing the pieces back on. So you can see that I do have a hand there, but I am actually going to take that off in a minute because I'm going to kind of position it differently. But I had a lot of fun just trying to figure out, how I wanted my busted mirror, I guess, to look. And you're going to have to let me know, does it look like a busted mirror or does it just look like it's metal? I don't know. I really wanted to go for the mirror effect, but even though I don't know if it looks like it, but I still think it came out super cool. All right, so I went ahead and glued down the head and then his body part, I guess his spine. And then I'm going to work on the arms. So because I did want it to look like the skeleton is coming out, of the canvas, I went ahead and hot glued his hand kind of at a downward angle to make it look like he's pushing himself out, if that makes sense. So I did hot glue the arm down and then the hand, and then I went ahead and did it to the other one as well. Now, because there is kind of an opening there, the original color kind of showed through, so I'm just going to go through and touch it up in between where the hand meets the arm, and then, it all blended together. So you can see that our little busted mirror here is coming together, but I just really did not like that piece, that triangle that got messed up. So I decided I'm going to cover it. Now this is so like OCD of me or whatever, but I just really wanted to do this. So I went ahead and I took one of just the scrap pieces and I cut it at an angle because I wanted to make it look like it was part of the canvas here. So at first it kind of like sticks out, and I don't know, you're gonna have to tell me what you think, but then once I add the black paint to the edges and stuff, I think it blended in, and we're gonna add some more fun things to this as well that I also think helped. Now I did end up cutting off that original piece that I rolled back, and then to hide the inside I just cut down pieces of the silver to go underneath, so when I flip it over it'll be silver on both sides. So I just kind of shaped it to all one shape, all one triangle, and then went ahead and glued it down. Now again, you don't have to do this. This was just, me being picky about how this is gonna look, but at the end, I am glad I did. So once I had that new piece glued down, again, I'm just gonna take my black paint and my paintbrush and just dab, dab, dab all over this new strip here. Now, I really wanted to add more detail, so I had these spider rings in my stash, and these are the ones with like the orange and gold gems. So I cut off the ring part, and then I didn't want it to be purple. So I went ahead and painted the gem black, and then again took my silver leaf rub and buff and just went ahead and just rubbed it all over, and I ended up doing this for 3 of them, and I hot glued them down as if they were also coming out of the mirror as well. So they were kind of at an angle and like kind of pointing up, so you can see what I'm doing here, but I thought that this added a really cool touch. However, I think that this next part really made it, just stepped it up. So I had this strand of lights again in my stash. So I just went ahead and poked a hole in the back, and I purposely did it in the corner so the hole was hidden behind the top canvas. And then once I had my hole, I just went ahead and from the back, I threaded, is that a word? Threaded my lights through. Now, my light strand was very, very long. I would definitely recommend a smaller or shorter one. You do not need a lot. And my light strand was so tangled. So I tried untangling it, but honestly, ain't no one got time for that. So you're going to see I just kind of weaved it, did the best I could, even if it was tangled, but you're not going to see it anyways. And then towards the end, I kind of gave up, which you'll see, but, or trying to untangle it. So like I said, I just took the beginning of it and just went ahead and weaved it through. And then also what I'm doing is I want the lights to be hidden underneath the top canvas. So once I go ahead and pull that through, I'm going to start just shoving it all around the canvas. Now my skeleton, when I was doing this, happened to fall off or pop off, which actually kind of helped me because then I could just go ahead and work on the lights. Now this was an afterthought, or else I would have done this before I put the skeleton on, but I guess it didn't matter since it popped off anyways. So I am just working this strand of lights through this hole, and then I'm going to go ahead and position them underneath the top canvas. So you can see here when I got the majority of the light strand through, I'm just shoving it, them underneath that top canvas. And I'm kind of using a couple different tools just around me to help me just shove all the lights in there. And then once I had all the lights positioned, I went ahead and hot glued my skeleton back on. Then I flipped my canvas over and I hot glued the battery pack down at the bottom of the canvas. Now you do want to make sure that if you do this, you keep the part that you can replace the batteries up top, and then also the on and off switch at the edge of the canvas. And then you can see where I gave up with the lights that were tangled. So I just went ahead and duct taped them down just so they weren't hanging everywhere. And that's it. And oh my goodness, this is probably my favorite favorite thing out of this entire video. So now it's time for the final reveal. Oh my goodness, I am absolutely obsessed with every single one of these DIYs today. And, you know, they were really easy. They were affordable, they were easy, and I had a lot of fun putting all of these together. You're going to have to let me know down in the comments which one of these DIYs was your favorite. I know that these are kind of dark and spooky, and that may not be your style, but don't forget, you can use whatever colors to do any one of these projects that you want. Yours don't have to look anything like mine. I am just here to give you the idea and inspiration. So I really hope that you enjoyed all of these today. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and hit that subscribe button. And again, let me know in the comments which one was your favorite DIY. Ooh, I don't know. It's really hard to choose, although I'm loving that busted canvas. And how cute are these witches? I just had to keep that in the shot. It reminded me of my two girls. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and until I see you again, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!